little game I like to call, though, a little Cowboys Will They or Won't They?
They will be at camp.
They will be at camp. That is for certain.
Count it.
You can participate on the text line 877-881-1053. Cowboys, will they or won't they? And I'm going to start with the man of the hour, the man of the defense, the man of the Dallas Cowboys, who I believe is the best player on this football team. The Cowboys, when it comes to Micah Parsons, will see him have at least 15 sacks this year. The Cowboys will get 15 sacks from Micah Parsons this season.
All right, so my brain immediately went to a place that is probably not a smart one to go to. I probably shouldn't even put this thought into the world, so I apologize to those of you that are superstitious. You got to make sure that he stays healthy just to get there.
There's one,
right? Because you kind of got to play 17 in order to get there. And it's absurd to even bring that up because he's played 16 and 17 games respectively this past couple of seasons. On top of that, man, there's teams are going to load up on him. Teams are going to try and make sure that guy does not blow your team up. And even with that, he's incredible at getting back there. It feels like an unfair thing to do to expect him to do 15.
Well, of course, Parsons has 26.5 sacks in each of his in his first two seasons. He's the third player to post 12-plus sacks in each of his first two NFL campaigns.
But he did slow down last year, and he's trying to kind of make sure the conditioning is better.
Doing a little bit more in terms of upgrading the physicality for him so that he will be able to withstand the punishment that comes with what he's going to be doing this upcoming year.
All right, so I'm going to do the thing where I go against my logic, where I look at, man, he might miss some games with a knock or something. He might, have another instance where something slows down. There might be teams that decide anybody but you, and he just kind of gets locked out. But however, I'm going to go with the optimism of this cat won't it, right? And I've seen the capabilities. I am watching the replays, and it is so fun to watch him go. I'm just going to go, you know what? Micah Parsons, I believe in his ability to do anything and everything. And you know what? He'll get 15. Why? Why not? I'm just going to drink the Kool-Aid right now. I don't care. I'm just going to live in optimism that Micah Parsons is going to put on a show and root for the fun of this.
NFL.com projects Micah Parsons to be the Cowboys MVP of the 2023 NFL season. Of course, just one of three players with 25-plus sacks and 30-plus tackles for loss since 2021. Micah Parsons, an absolute monster for this defense. Little Cowboys, will they or won't they?
You see how I lived on the positive, but I also stated all the reasons why I probably won't happen.
The Cowboys will or they won't ensure that Tony Pollard gets 300 carries this year.
I'm starting to lean towards won't. We start talking about some touches.
Actually, let me amend that.
He gonna get them touches.
Let me amend that. Let me go 250. 250. The Cowboys will or they won't see Tony Pollard have 250 carries this year.
This is the tough part about that, right? We were talking about this in the first segment of the show. As much as we look at the ways in which the staff kind of sets up for, more running, and the coaching staff, particularly Mike McCarthy, has talked about more running. If you look at the personnel of the staff, it kind of sets up to pass the ball. It kind of looks like you're going to be in 11 personnel. You're going to be tossing a rock around. And then, obviously Tony Pollard, maybe someone like Ronald Jones factors in running the football. But I can't imagine that they actually end up being this heavy running football team as the way that it's constituted. Like there feels to be a little dissonance there.
By the way, that averages to about nearly 15 carries per game in a 17-game season for Tony Pollard.
Right now I'm in this place where I've been questioning it, so I'm going to go with no because I think that he'll get a lot of touches. I just don't know that they're all going to be carries. You know what I mean? In addition to, again, bringing up the fact that football is tough and it'd be hurting your body. But I just can't see this situation where they actually go through and they're like, we're going to run this ball heavy. Especially with Mike McCarthy is not like the super analytics guy, but he also he's not entirely in the dark ages on this type of stuff. And so I don't know that he will look at it in that perspective and go, we're just going to tote the rock all the time. I think that the way that this sets up is that they're going to be more pass happy than we're probably giving them credit for just off of the quotes. Because sometimes Mike McCarthy be lying. I don't know if you know this.
Sometimes he does.
So right now I've just been looking at, probably the last day or two, I've just been looking at this roster and being like, are they for real? Are they lying in our faces?
Well, here's the thing. Tony Pollard's carries have gone up each and every season he's been in the NFL. Last year had a career high 193 attempts, averaged 5.2 yards per carry, over 1,000 yards receiving.
Yeah.
I tend to think that he's going to get to about the 225 to 250 range in terms of carries this year because he's going to be the number one back for this team. Now that depends. Can Ronald Jones, Malik Davis?
I keep leaving out Malik Davis, and my apologies to that man because he's done enough to where I could see him get involved in the conversation when it comes to getting some of these totes.
Maybe Deuce Vaughn a little bit as well. How that running game shapes up behind Tony Pollard, or do you have a DeMarco Murray situation? Remember when they ran your boy into the ground the final year that he was here, set a rushing record for the Dallas Cowboys, and then it's like, all right, cool, we'll see you later. We'll see you later. Maybe that's what happens with Tony Pollard. They use him up for all that he's got.
I just don't know that they've set themselves up to be that kind of football team. That's the thing, and I understand.
That's one of the questions that we'll find out, yeah.
I've harped on it a lot in the last 5 minutes, but it really is just bothering me, nagging at me. Like, it just doesn't make sense that they're going to be like, let's line it up and pound the football. When you look at the way that you have 3 wide receivers that if any one of them is not on the field at any given time, people are looking at the sideline like, what's happening over there?
Let's stick on the offense because I think for me, a lot of the questions are solidified. There aren't many questions I have to say on the defensive side that I have going into this upcoming season. They really reside for me on the offensive side, and there's another one for me that comes up specifically with the offensive line. Will they or won't they make Tyler Smith the left guard going into this upcoming season?
I think that they will. This is another thing where I'm coming back to the idea of we do a lot of talking sometimes, and when I say we, I mean Mike McCarthy. He do a lot of talking sometimes, and then you come out and you're like, that's not actually what you said, my guy. Remember 2 seasons ago when he was getting on our keisters about fantasy football and moving these linemen around?
We're not going to be moving these offensive linemen all around and whatnot.
Now, KG, what he going to do?
Moved all them offensive linemen around.
Like sometimes he be talking, right? So the idea of like, and again, I've also made this point with you when we've had these conversations that we might have been kind of drumming up and making bigger some of the conversations that they were having in the room to explore all possibilities, which is, okay, but what happens, what would it look like if maybe we play, Tyron Smith at right tackle? What would happen if maybe we do this? And I think that maybe they've considered all these things, but it feels so obvious that your 5 best linemen are as constituted. Tyron Smith back at left tackle where he is, if you're going to have him on your team, that's probably the best place where he plays. Because honestly, he wasn't as good at right tackle as you would like him to be. We know that Tyler Smith was really good at left tackle and probably should stay there, but he has the capability of being a really good starting left guard. So you play him there. Tyler Biadasz, obviously your center. Zach Martin.
When he's there at camp.
When he's there at camp, he's your right guard. And then Terrence Steele, once healthy, is your right tackle. Like that feels so obvious that is the answer. And I just can't believe that they're going to think themselves into a place where they do something that's counter to what feels so obvious.
Now, the way I think this is going to go into camp, as Terrence Steele continues to get healthy, the way I see this going right now is that Tyler Smith will be your left tackle. Matt Farniok will be your left guard at this point.
Ooh,
he's got the experience factor going for him there.
I need to be more cognizant of Farniok when he gets into these games in this rewatch.
Tyler Biadasz at center, Zach Martin at right guard when he's there at camp, and then Tyron Smith over at right tackle. I think that's how it'll open up as camp starts until Terrence Steele gets healthy. But you're right, the combination that you put together is the one that I would love to see when we get to week 1. If Terrence Steele is able to be healthy by the time we get to that point. As we continue with our Cowboys, will they or won't they going into the 2023 NFL season? Will they or won't they be able to count on Brian Schottenheimer to bring a little bit of a different element to the Texas Coast offense that the Cowboys are running this upcoming season?
What element are you looking for? Like, quite literally, I got questions. What element are you looking for here?
Clearly something different that got Kellen Moore out the paint around here.
I think he is there to be over here and assist Mike McCarthy and do what he's trying to do, right? Mike McCarthy want to call this offense. Mike McCarthy wants to build this offense. I think that Brian Schottenheimer is...
Well, let's explore that. What do you think based on what Mike McCarthy's done in the past as a play caller and now bringing
He's been pass happy. Right? Like, that's another part of this. Like, he wasn't over there with Aaron Rodgers like, well... Got to really protect him. Got to make sure that we split the run and passes evenly. No, he was out there chucking that thing, man. And I understand Dak Prescott's not Aaron Rodgers, and I don't want to have that conversation, right? The Texas Coast offense. I can't imagine that we gonna end up looking back at this and being like, ooh, they sure did look like the Marshawn Lynch Seattle Seahawks, right? Like, I don't think that we're gonna do that. And so I don't know what element we're anticipating Brian Schottenheimer bringing into this situation.
As long as the Cowboys, with this offense and what we're looking at, I don't think a lot is going to change necessarily. I mean, because here's the thing that kind of boggles my mind when we're talking about, the changing of the offense a little bit here is this is an offense that over the last couple of years has been a top 5 scoring offense in the National Football League.
It has.
Okay. This team knows how to score points, and the idea that Mike McCarthy might want to purposefully score less points in the idea of running the football is kind of wild to me. But at the same time, if you're going to be more effective in running the football, you're hoping that Brian Schottenheimer in this offense, along with Mike McCarthy, create the kind of not only necessary balance for this team, but more so for me, what does Brian Schottenheimer do to help his quarterback be able to see some things differently where he's making better decisions and being more decisive with the football that allows this offense to remain as efficient as really it has been over the last couple of years, even though you didn't see it when it mattered most, San Francisco, in the last couple of playoff losses that they've had. If Brian Schottenheimer, along with this offensive staff, can help Dak Prescott in that way, because it's funny because Hellman made a point when we had him in studio.
He do be making points
about how he doesn't feel like Mike McCarthy will do that much for Dak Prescott when it comes to him calling this offense and running this offense. Mm-hmm. I tend to disagree a little bit with that because of what he is trying to do with Brian Schottenheimer and what the staff, I think, wants to help him do and clean up the turnover problem.
But this is one of the things about the turnover problem. That feels like a one-year situation. Like it does.
I agree with that.
Right.
But more so the miscommunication problems that the quarterback has had with his receivers going really over the last couple of years.
Okay.
I think that can be cleaned up with Brian Schottenheimer working in tandem with Mike McCarthy. That's what I'm hoping to see for this offense and what they're able to do this upcoming season.
Oh, that's a great question, 469. That's completely off of the Cowboys situation. I will find an answer for you on that, and I will respond to your text on air once we come back.
Oh, that's a great question.
This
little Cowboys, will they or won't they here on your home, the Cowboys, 105.3 The Fan.